Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Today I would like to explain the reason why we should build more nuclear power plant. So, before we go more further for this topic, I would like you to know how many more nuclear power plant we already have today, especially. So, here's the number of our nuclear power plant we already have. Yeah, this number -1 and 0 is the number of our nuclear power plant, and yes, as you can see, we own 0. So this made me thinking that instead we talking about why we should build more nuclear power plant, I think we should talk why we should move to nuclear power plant instead. So I change today's topic to this. So before we go more further about this, I would I would like you to know. So here I would like to show you some data. So this data is about our energy consumption. Every item in this data is the fuel for your electricity to light up your lamp and to recharge your smartphone. And as you can see here, we mostly depend on coal for around 54% and natural gas for around 22%, and another renewable energy such as wind, sun, water, etc. for 23%, and around 1% is oil, crude oil to be exact. Why? Maybe some of you thinking why we depend on coal so much. Well, maybe some of you already know also. We are one of the biggest exporter in the world for coal, and that's why we have so much coal, and that affect the production cost for every kilowatt of electricity. And here the production cost of 1 kilowatt per 1 kilowatt of electricity. As you can see, we only spend 800 rupiah for 1 kilowatt electricity compared to renewable energy that costs around 2,600 per kilowatt per hour. And coal is about 1/4 of the cost of renewable energy, and the other two cost around 1,000 and 1,600. So for now, coal is the cheapest resource for generator electricity. So here I will show you the diagram of nuclear power plant. So nuclear reactor is basically a steam machine which using pressured water vapor to spin the turbine, and the turbine will generate electricity to your house. So it happened with nuclear reaction in the reactor chamber, where here uh, nuclear reaction happen, and that reaction generate heat, so much heat, and to cool it down we use water to cool it down, and that water will evaporate, and that water vapor we use to uh, spin the turbine. And the next, here I will show you the benefit of nuclear energy. The first one is it is a very clean energy, because unlike the coal that produce uh, gas emission as its waste, nuclear reactor produce nothing but heat from its reaction, and it wouldn't pollute the air around it, and then it's more efficient than the coal, because in 1 week production, 1 week time production of electric power plant, and we use around tons of coal, and what I mean ton is hundreds of tons, not just kilogram. And compared to nuclear power plant, we only use around a couple of kilogram of fuel to operate the nuclear power plant, so it lot more efficient than the coal. And again, people might thinking, is it safe? Some of you maybe already know about the Chernobyl incident, where a power reactor they had there exploded and it caused a whole city to contaminate. But you should know first, here is the design of Chernobyl nuclear reactor, and here is the design of very typical nuclear reactor. As you can see, they both very different from each other. From the for the for the Chernobyl power reactor, they use graphite as the moderator for the nuclear reaction. So if uh, if something happen with the cooler, they use all the water, the what is called nuclear reaction will not stop and keep continue, and that nuclear reaction will continue to produce heat, so much heat, and that cause reactor meltdown. In the other hand, uh, typical nuclear reactor use water as the moderator. So if water suddenly stop, then the nuclear reaction also stop. it it is one of the security system to make sure uh, the reactor didn't operate by itself. And then that's all for my presentation. As you can see, uh, nuclear reactor give so many benefit for us, and especially for environment, because it didn't create pollution to the atmosphere, so it will help the uh, climate change, help to stop the climate changing, I mean. And I think that's all for my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.